Holy cow, y'all, look at the cutest shadow box that I created. I'm so excited to share with you. How in the world did I make a shaker shadow box? This project right here looks really complicated, but it is actually super easy. Hi, my name is Ashley Falco and welcome to the Craft Castle. If you have no idea who I am, I have been a full-time crafter since 2012 and I own my own cardstock warehouse. So for this project, all the supplies that I use in this craft will be linked in the description of this video. You are also going to need just a couple sheets of cardstock. These cardstocks are going to be found in my cardstock warehouse and they're absolutely so amazing to work with. So I have my regular green and dark green plain cardstock. I also have two colors of my glitter cardstock, evergreen and regular green. The reason why my glitter cardstock is so freaking amazing is that it's 100% shed free. So you're never gonna have glitter anywhere on your project or your mats, which is absolutely phenomenal. Then what you're gonna need is a piece of my mirror gold cardstock. Now this mirror cardstock right here is unlike any other mirror cardstock that you will find anywhere else. This right here is highly reflective, but also is plain white on the back. No ugly craft like what you would generally find at the craft stores. And last but not least, I created an SVG file of this entire shadow box. You're gonna find that in my cardstock warehouse. You're not gonna want to pass up on this SVG file. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. So the very first thing you want to do is open up a blank window in Cricut Design Space. Then what you want to do is head over to my cardstock warehouse. All you need to do is go to ashleyfalco.com and this website will pop up. This is my website. You're going to want to buy all the cardstock, but then also to locate that digital download, we're just going to go over here to digital downloads and you are going to go looking for my digital download of the Lucky Shadow Shaker Box. This is the file right here. You're just going to want to download this file. When you're over in your blank window in Cricut Design Space, all you want to do is press upload and upload image and drag and drop that SVG file into Cricut Design Space. And then you just want to press upload. When you get back to this screen, then you just want to click on the uploaded SVG file and press add to canvas. Now, if you purchase the 8-inch shadow box, just like me, you do not have to resize this. This SVG file is sized for an 8-inch shadow box. However, if you have another sized shadow box, you would want to resize that at this point. So just taking this 8 and resize this to the size that you need for your shadow box. When you're done doing that, all you need to do is right click on the SVG file and press ungroup. So here's the deal. The beauty of this shadow box is if you do not want to create a shaker shadow box, all you need to do at this point is delete these clovers and then press make. That's how easy this file is to use. However, if you want to make this a shaker box, just like how I've created it, what you want to do is go back to the original file with these clovers right here. And we want to select the very back green piece and copy and paste this. Now I'm going to drag this over here to the right and I am going to change this over. So going over here into the color swatch and go into advanced, I am going to change this over into a light blue color. Now, if you've watched any of my previous tutorials, I tell you that whenever I change something over into a very light pale blue, that's because I'm going to be using acetate for this. So for light blue for me, I'm going to be using acetate, and for my shaker shadow box, I do use acetate. I just want to make sure that the clovers that I use for the shaker don't go flying everywhere when we finish assembling this shadow box. Then what I'm going to do is I need something to fill in my shaker portion of my shadow box. So I have these clovers right here. I am just going to copy and paste them, and I'm going to drag these down below my original 3 clovers. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make these ones a little bit smaller. Then what I'm going to do is copy and paste those. So Command C and Command V on your keyboard. And I'm going to drag this over here. Now I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. What I'm doing at this point is creating dimension. We're using different sizes of our clovers to create more dimension when we go to assemble this. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my original 3 clovers and I'm going to copy and paste those. Drag them into below these 3. Now for these ones, I'm going to make them just a little bit bigger. Okay, so for this next step, all I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of my clovers and I'm going to copy and paste. At this point, what I'm doing is I am just going to copy and paste a bunch of clovers onto my screen because I want to make sure that I have enough clover confetti pieces to fill up my shaker. Now, I'm only going to use a single sheet of every single cardstock. Now, it's okay if you have too many clovers for a single sheet of cardstock. I'm going to show you how to fix that when we go into the cut screen. When you think you have enough clovers that will fill up your cardstock sheet, your full 12 by 12 cardstock sheet, then all you want to do is press make. You can save this if you want. I'm just going to press do not save. So Cricut is telling me that I'm going to need 2 sheets of marigold cardstock. However, I know that I only need 1 single sheet. So going over into Mat 2, I'm going to drag this Lucky down over here to the bottom right corner. I'm going to click these 3 dots and go to Move Objects. And then I'm going to click on the very first yellow mat. Then I'm going to press Confirm. Now, when you do this, you do not want your cutouts to touch. So you can see that right here, my L is overlapping onto my shadow box. You do not want that. So we're going to take this little arrow tool and we're just going to rotate this a little bit until it does not touch the other cutouts on my canvas. Now going over into Mat 4, everything looks good. However, over on Mat 5, we have a few leftover clover pieces. Now, if we go back over into Mat 4, everything that is inside this clover, we're actually not even going to use. So it's just wasted space. So what I'm going to do is going back over into Mat 5, I'm going to drag and select all these clover pieces. I'm going to click these 3 dots and press Move Object. And I'm going to go over into the Mat 4 and click Confirm. Now you can see that these clover pieces are touching what is supposed to be my finished shadow box clover. So I'm just going to take these clovers and I am just going to rearrange them so it is not touching any other cut line of my shadow box clover. Looking good. Okay, going over into Mat 7, same thing. I know that I only need 1 sheet of cardstock, so I'm going to select all these pieces, including that Lucky. It may look like you can't fit this entire thing inside that Mat 6, but I can tell you right now, we're going to make it fit. So we're going to come up here into these 3 dots, Move Object, go to Mat 6, and press Confirm. And then clicking on this Lucky, I'm just going to use this little rotate button and I'm going to rotate this in and I'm going to make sure that the word Lucky is not touching anything else in my clover. Do you see how nothing's touching? And it fit. Now I'm going to take all these smaller clover pieces and I'm just going to put them on the inside of this large clover, making sure that nothing's touching. So initially it looked like there was no way we were going to be able to get this to fit. Clearly we were able to get it to fit. Then you want to do the same thing with the dark green. Going to Mat 9, we're going to click these 3 dots, Move Object, going over into Mat 8 and press Confirm, and moving around your clovers so they're not touching anything and all fits on 1 sheet of cardstock. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is pull out all the sheets of cardstock that you're going to need. So if you made it the same size as me, you're just gonna need 5 sheets of cardstock and then 1 sheet of acetate. Okay, after we get it all set up, you just wanna press continue on your Cricut. And then I'm gonna be using my Cricut Explore Air 2 for this project. And anytime I am working with my specialty or glitter cardstock, I always like to set my Cricut Explore Air 2 to the cardstock plus mode. For the very first mat, you just want to insert that into our Cricut. And then you want to press the blinking C button. Now, while this is cutting, what you want to do is take out a second mat and prep your second mat. For me, the color that I'm going to be using is my dark evergreen glitter cardstock. When that's done cutting, you just want to add in your next sheet of cardstock. And then you just want to cut all of your cardstock in the order that it needs to be cut. Okay, when you're done cutting all your cardstock, you can press done on your computer, and then we can push our Cricuts off to the side. Then what you want to do is grab your shadow box that you're going to be using. What you want to do is stack all these pieces of paper in the order of which you are going to be gluing your cardstock together. Now, for my particular project, I'm choosing to do the shaker portion. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack my layers up to where I have a sheet of glitter cardstock in the back, this clover piece right here, and then a sheet of acetate. I'm going to glue all the rest of these on top of the sheet of acetate, but I want this right here to be in between one sheet on the very back, one full sheet in the very back, and then this one right here. So when I have them stacked in the order that I want, I'm going to start at the very back, and I am going to put my very back piece right here, and then my second layer. I'm going to put that right here. Now, if you're doing the shaker portion, you're going to want to follow these steps. If you're not doing the shaker portion, then all you need to do is glue all your pieces together and then just stick it inside your shadow box. But for me, what I'm going to do is take some long strips of foam tape, and I'm going to go around the outer perimeter of this clover. Now, you don't have to be super perfect about how this gets laid into your clover, because first, I'm not going to be using small little pieces of glitter. I'm only going to be using my cutout clover pieces of cardstock. And then the other thing is it's going to end up getting covered up by everything else that we put inside of our shadow box. So it really doesn't matter how ugly this portion looks. I do suggest, however, not putting the foam over here to where it's going to be on the inside of your clover, because then you will be able to see that. Now, essentially what you're doing is you're making the clovers that we use as our shaker not be able to fall below the actual cutout of the shaker, because then they'll disappear behind everything and then it won't ever look like a shaker shadow box. So after I have my pieces of foam stuck to the second back layer of my shadow box, what I'm going to do now is take and peel off all of the paper backing to my foam strips. Okay, with all of my paper backing filled in, I'm going to put this onto my very back layer, lining up my squares. You want to make sure that this is all lined up, looking good. Okay, and before you move forward, what you want to do is take your cutouts that you have cut out, all those little clovers, and we are going to place this inside our shaker. Now, you may or may not want to use all the cutouts that you used. If you choose not to use all the cutouts, that's totally fine, but there's better to have extra than there is to not have enough. Now, for this project, I definitely don't suggest doing like a fine glitter, just because it's not going to be sealed very well. So you definitely don't want it just falling all over the place and then making a mess of your entire shaker shadow box. Okay, I like the look of this. I definitely have a lot left over. That's okay. I think that having leftovers is better than not having enough inside our shadow box. Okay, then what I'm going to do is take some clear silicone glue, and I'm going to go around the outside portion of this square. So the very outside portion. I'm not going to go near the clover part because I don't want this glue to be seen when it's all finished. Okay, so all we need to do now, making sure that your piece of acetate is nice and clean. You want to line up the corners with your square. Okay, now we're just going to seal the edges with our fingertips. Isn't that so stinking cute? Okay, so then you could do one of two things. You could keep doing the same thing with the glue and glue onto the top of your sheet of acetate. Or what you can do is take more foam sheets to give it more dimension. And all you would do is the same thing that we did with the very first pieces of foam, is we're just gonna go around the clover, making sure that you don't see any of the foam on the inside of your clover. Okay, when you have all your pieces of foam, if that's what you're using, on, then you just want to peel the paper backing off of your foam strips. Okay, doing the same thing we did before, we're going to line up the corners with our square. Look at how amazing this is looking. It's looking so good. Okay, taking the next one, doing the same thing. You can choose to do glue if you wanted to. I'm just going to keep with a theme and use some foam strips. Okay. Then you just want to add in the layer just like any other layer that we have added in. I mean, look at that. So freaking cute. Okay, last one. And you know what? For this one, I think what I'm going to do is just add some plain cardstock glue to the back of this. So I'm going to be using my favorite cardstock glue. And I'm going to put this on top of my glitter cardstock. My word, look at how freaking cute this turned out. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on. So for this one, I think what I'm going to do is use some more foam strips on the back of my lettering. I want to make sure that my lettering pops really well. Okay, peeling the paper backing from our mirror gold, and I'm going to layer this onto my glitter green cardstock. Cute, and look at that dimension. So when we add this onto here, there's even more dimension to it. I absolutely love the way this ended up turning out. So for now, for this very back piece, I am going to do something wild and crazy. I am going to put a couple different layers of foam tape on top of each other to create even more dimension for this word. So after I have my first layer of foam on there, I am going to peel off the paper backing off my very first layer. Then what I'm going to do is take even more of this foam and I'm going to layer it on top of the first layer of foam. Okay, before I peel off that second layer, do I want a third layer on here? Let's do a third layer. Okay, let's see. Is the 3 layers going to be enough for me? Yes, I think this is going to be perfect. So before I take that paper backing off, you can see the look of it like this. And then from the side, this looks so freaking cute. So once I've figured out that I want 3 layers, I'm just gonna nicely take off the backing. Okay, then I'm just gonna cockeye this a little bit so it's not straight. Does it look like I messed that up if I cockeye it just a little bit? How do I want this to look? Okay, this looks good. Okay, I'm just gonna push that nicely down onto my clover thing. Look at how freaking cute this is. Oh my gosh. Okay, now we're going to take our shadow box. We're going to flip this over. You want to make sure that the bottom of your shadow box, this right here is going to be at the bottom. Okay, there is a piece of plastic on the inside and outside of the box. I only peeled the inside portion for right now. Then what I'm going to do is turn this into my shadow box. Just like that. Okay, and then we're gonna add in the back. Okay, are you ready for the big reveal? Look at how freaking cute this is. Oh my goodness. Now let's peel off of this. Oh my gosh. It ended up looking so stinking cute. And all those clovers on the inside of that. Yeah. looks absolutely phenomenal. All right, y'all, I sure hope you love the way that this sign ended up looking. I sure hope I inspired you to create, and I'll see you later.